Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. And Serge is back after his not long break, but he's back. But as you saw by the title, today we are doing the Detroit Lions Bust or Broom 2021, giving you guys a preview for them going into the season. We've been doing every single team. This is the last team of this division. We've done Pack, we've done Bears, we've done Vikings. But basically, we give you guys an outlook for them, kind of just really giving you predictions, preview, we go over key players for them, obviously free agent impact and trade impact. Obviously, they brought over Jared Goff, and then we'll be talking about the NFL draft impact outlook, giving you guys a rundown on all their players, and then obviously a rundown on what we think their record will be. Obviously, one of the weaker teams in the NFL, arguably the weakest team in the NFL, depending on what you think. But as always, make sure to watch full video so you get all of our takes, because we have good ones as always. Follow us on social media at The Sports Scoop, Twitter and Instagram, as well as our TikTok. And do make sure to subscribe to the channel if you are new, to our notification, because we will be previewing your NFL team this season. Without further ado, let's get into the video.
So, as always, for every Buster Boom that we do, we are going to be starting off with key players. And starting off, we don't have a lot of key players with the Lions, but starting off, we have Deandre Swift, previously rookie running back, who was really one of the few bright spots on a pretty bad Lions team. Kean, what do you think of Deandre Swift?
Yeah, I like him a lot. Big fan of Deandre Swift, someone who I really like going into the year. And we said, I think in our video we did last year after that draft, he was in our top 5 rookie busts, and we basically got all of them wrong. But look, Swift is fantastic. It was a decent running back class, obviously, as Taylor was the head guy, and you had some good guys, but then Deandre Swift had to be up there. Really talented guy, and I think what kind of is going to stand out for him this year is going into a now backfield that he will have competition in. Obviously, with Jamal Williams, who we'll get to when we talk about free agents, it's about, is he going to be that all-down guy? Is he going to be the number one guy? I hope he is. I think he will be. But I think this year is going to be tough because it's probably going to eliminate a lot of his receiving contributions to this offense with bringing in Jamal Williams. But then we get to see him run the ball a lot more, which we saw at Georgia. He was fantastic, really elusive, someone who, like the great backs, doesn't get tackled very easily, and really obviously offers is a dual threat for a Lions offense that really is going to need it, because no one's really expecting Jared Goff to be good. So they're going to look at other players to kind of step up and get the points. I think Deandre Swift is going to be a huge guy, and I wouldn't be surprised if he gets the most amount of points total for that offense. Someone who I think is great in the red zone, kind of do it all back. But Serge, when you look at Deandre Swift, when you kind of are previewing him, what do you think he needs to do going into 2021?
I think he has to be kind of the perfect, like you said, we're going to talk about Jamal Williams later, but he's got to be the good complement to him, because he's not going to get all the touches, which really much suits an elusive back like Deandre Swift. He's going to be the guy who, more the third down back, the guy who's going to be a threat not only in the run game, but also receiving. He's going to be, I see him as obviously probably a number 1 running back, but definitely someone who isn't going to work in a single back, and that's, I think, why the Lions got Jamal Williams. So I really think it's going to help Deandre Swift, even if the stats don't show it. So I think he's got to maybe fill his role. He's going to be a big target for Jared Goff. I could see that, especially early season, where he may not have the best chemistry with his receivers that he's just getting used to. So I see him, he's going to have a decent year, especially in a Lions offense that doesn't have as much talent as the rest of the NFC North. But I don't think he has to do it all.
All right, let's move on to another key player. This a big one. This a deciding year for him, and that's Ohio State cornerback, another second-year player, Jeff Okudah, who they drafted at number 3 overall, and really someone we had a ton of high expectations for, and then he was injured and didn't play that well, had an interception against Kyler Murray. That was basically it. Surridge, I generally still think Okudah can be good. Do you think he still can be in 2021?
Oh, 100%. I think there's no doubt that he can be good. Remember, he had to start the year with Matt Patricia as his head coach, which is kind of like trying to climb an even bigger mountain than there already was playing in the Lions secondary. So I think he definitely has the potential to be very, very good, even great. I think, remember, when he was about to be drafted, people were thinking of him as probably an all-pro caliber cornerback. He has that number of talent and intelligence. And I think, again, another reason why we didn't really see the best of Okudah was because he was injured for so long, and that could contribute to rust, or maybe he wasn't even 100% for some of the games. So I think in year 2, granted that he can stay healthy, granted that he'll have a hopefully better defensive coordinator, a better defense, a better, hopefully, head coach. I don't know if Dan Campbell will be that. I think he could definitely be a good cornerback in the NFL, and I expect a jump, not a significant jump, but I definitely think he'll be better than his rookie year.
Yeah, he was kind of an interesting one because as it didn't look like he had a great year, he still had 47 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, obviously that interception. But he was someone coming out of college who was just sticky to his man, someone who's really, really good in press coverage, someone who I think when you bring a new coaching system in will be very good at executing that defensive scheme. I was really disappointed as I've kind of said, cornerback's my most favorite position. I always kind of lean towards that when we scout for the NFL draft, and we were really starting our channel. We hadn't even started yet when we were doing our scouting. We weren't in a channel, so it wasn't some intense thing. But Okudah was someone who really stuck out to me when we did our mock drafts. He was someone who I had going early, who I think a lot of people predicted to go to the Lions. I mean, he was kind of a lock pick when the draft came around, and then he wasn't great. And I think this year he's going into a true number one role because Trufant is now on the Bears, I believe, because they lost Kyle Fuller. So again, that could be very bad for him. I know, I think he had a pectoral injury that took him out for 7 months. I think it was a chest injury, I believe. Not 7 months. I think it was 7 weeks.
7 weeks.
Yeah, sorry. It wasn't an ACL injury. 7 weeks, and he was out. So there's injury at the end of the day. You don't see the player play, obviously. So going to this season, you're stepping into a number one role. You're going up now. I think confirmed you're going to be going up against Rodgers and Davante Adams. As Rodgers, I think just confirmed that he will be re-signing there. And you're going up against Allen Robinson, Darnell Mooney, who will take a step. Obviously, Justin, like every single wide receiving core in your division has very, very good receivers. So again, that could be good. It's a test for Okudah. Can he play well against them? I mean, if he's a guy who can hold Davante Adams to less than 50 yards, great. If not, it's not like we were expecting him to. But look, good corner, someone who, again, deciding year in year 2. Me and Dylan have been saying it. Besides quarterbacks, generally a 2-year rule. So I would say this is a deciding year for him. I guess he had that injury, so maybe we can give him a year 3. But it'll be like is Okudah good? Okay, maybe we don't need to bring in a really, really good guy if they want to bring someone in free agency in 2022. So, as I said, deciding year for a cornerback that we know can be good. But
now we're going to get into our second part, off-season moves. And the first one is a big one. The big one. The
main part of this video.
The main part of this, the trade for Jared Goff, the Matthew Stafford Jared Goff trade. Obviously, I think that was the trade for Jared Goff really wasn't the enticing pick for the Lions. It was more the 2 first-round picks that they got from offloading Matthew Stafford. Goff is going to have a lot on his hands. The play calling's not going to be as good. The unit around him isn't going to be as good. The organization isn't going to be as good. So it's going to be a lot tougher. It's going to really show, okay, how good of a quarterback really is Jared Goff. What do you think, kid?
Yeah, it was at the end of the day, look, Jared Goff has literally zero expectations to play at a high level. And why should he? He's a younger quarterback, but he can't really run, and his throwing power isn't very much. Doesn't have a lot of it. And I'll never forget, it was when he was traded right before the Super Bowl, and we were hanging out. Me, you, Charlie were hanging out. I recorded the breaking news in our friend's house on a bench. It was a surprising one to say. Not a surprise. It was.
We expected I think we expected Goff and Stafford to go, but I don't think we expected them to be in the same trade.
Yeah.
I didn't think we expected Goff to be offloaded to the line just like that. It's not like it's a completely talentless team. Remember, like I said, the running back core isn't that bad. The offensive line is slightly improved, but the receivers just aren't there. And I don't know. It's going to be we've seen Jared Goff, how he can be so on and off, so inconsistent. And with a team that doesn't really mask it as well as the Rams would do, like Sean McVay would do, I'm a bit worried for him this year, Jared Goff. But I think that's why a lot of people don't expect the Lions to be a very good team in 2021.
Yeah, and I mean, look, he'll probably, at the end of the day, if there's one good thing about this team, is that offensive line. Frank Ragnow, Tyler Decker, you brought Penei Sewell, which was a fantastic selection. So at least you have an offensive line, a good running back core. So it's someone you can kind of, you can offload the ball to Swift. You have Jamal Williams out of the backfield. And look, we'll get to some receivers that they drafted, which they did get a lot. They have Rashad Perriman, Surge, your guy from the Jets. So they have kind of those guys. And at the end of the day, look at the Rams. I think Cooper Kupp's underrated. Woods, I think, is all right, but never that like, oh, out and out fantastic wide receiver. So Goff has never really had that. So I think maybe he surprised us a little. No way Goff is throwing over 4,000. No way this guy is having some kind of fantastic season. I don't see him staying for more than a year. They're going to have a high draft pick. They'll go get Rattler. They'll go get Sam Howell. Maybe they get Malik Willis from Liberty. I don't think it'll be a big year for him. Again, it sucks because he says, but what I've been saying is a lot of is players who had high expectations and then go to a team and get low expectations can generally perform because there's not as much pressure. So look, Jared Goff, you nothing to lose at the end of the day. I think that's the term that we should be using for him going to 2021. His outlook is he has nothing to lose.
Now moving on to our second free agent, I think this is another very underrated one that kind of slipped our minds with all the big free agency moves that are happening this year. Jamal Williams going from his rivals, the Packers, now to the Lions. I think this is an underrated move. I think he's going to be more of the bell cow back than Deandre Swift. I mean, they'll probably get a similar number of touches overall, but I feel like I could see more Swift as that first down back, the guy who is used more for running the ball, the guy more used in single back or I formation. Like, I could see Swift more of the shotgun guy, just maybe make the defense more show nickel and make them kind of respect the pass and maybe go to Swift in the run game in a shotgun formation. But I think with Williams, you more see the running element, the guy who's not really going to get as many touches like in space and more going to be that guy, not like necessarily like that plunger back. That guy is just going to run it down your throat, but that guy is more of a running back. What are you thinking?
Kind of be and I've been saying it. They understood that they don't have a fantastic team, so they went now. We're like, all right, let's at least get a committee and that running back, or let's get like at least two good guys. He's 26 or is from BYU, where your quarterback of the future is from. So at least there's something good there. Someone who really, to me, is going to help a team that needs it. And he's, as I said, only 26. He gets consistently 100 attempts at least for the Packers. And I think as much as fantasy owners hate to say it, he could be rivaling Deandre Swift for that running back one role because he has that veteran experience and someone who we've seen when Aaron Jones steps out, the Packers have no problem with throwing him into that RB1 role. So I don't think and we know that Swift had injury problems, wasn't that bad last year, but at Georgia it was terrible. So if that happens, I think it was smart. It was a backup plan because if you lose Deandre Swift, you don't have anything. So they were like, all right, let's get Jamal Williams in case. So I think it was a fantastic deal. As you said, an underrated one. I think a guy who will go in and make an impact, mentor Deandre Swift as much as he can, although he's not the oldest guy. But look, never really had that top tier receiving back kind of production. Most he's gotten is 5 touchdowns in 2019. But looking at a Lions team that doesn't have that many good receivers, I think he could have one of the better years of his career. But Serge, what's your outlook for him?
Yeah, I could see him getting actually more rushing yards than Swift this season, because again, considering that he's going to get more touches in the run game, but Swift might get more all-purpose yards, given that he's going to be used in a lot more variety of ways than I could see Williams be used. But this is going to be a team, really, this offense is really going to be based along the running back. I could see a lot of play action. I could see a lot of screens, a lot of quick plays that can get them, and they're going to be used a lot in the check down game.
Let's move on now, Serge, to a fantastic NFL draft by the Detroit Lions.
That's
steals on steals, and we saw teams rebuilding have a good draft. I think up there with one of the best one. I think the steal of the draft has to be Penei Sewell. And I think we were kind of surprised that they were like, yeah, let's despite all the talent on the board, like, oh, maybe go get Justin Fields, like maybe go do that. No, like maybe go get a quarterback. You don't. They stuck with the most talented player in the class in Penei Sewell. This guy, if you saw our scouting reports, our drafts, he's the best offensive line prospect I've ever seen. And I know, oh, you're only 15. Shut up. I'm joking. But I think everyone has seen this guy is phenomenal. He just doesn't let people get by him, and he's someone who I think will translate. I know it's very, very hard to tell. He will take his first snap in the NFL at 19 years old, or 20 years old. Sorry, 20 years old. And will play the whole season, I believe, at 20. Like, you have him. We said it. You'll have him for 10 years minimum. He's just, to me, a mauler, someone who is like so scary at the second level I can't even imagine. Mauls guys at Oregon was fantastic. they can call Herbert if they want to get more. Or you can call Herbert if you want to get more information on how good this guy is. But if you're Jared Goff, you have to be somewhat excited that offensive line is decent, especially with the addition now of Penei Sewell.
Yeah, 100%. I think what Sewell's really going to provide is not only obviously great pass protection, which we know that's why he's getting taken so early, but also he's going to provide great run blocking at the second level as well. Like you said, he is a mauler, so he is not going to be easy to get past. I think he is going to be kind of that tackle that really build around. I think whenever you're starting off or you're rebuilding, you always want to start off with the offensive line. I think the Lions have gone from a bad offensive line to now a slightly better one. I mean, it wasn't that bad last year, but I think it's gotten a lot better with Sewell. Obviously, they still have Bragg now. They still have Halpuli Vaitai. I don't know how to pronounce that.
Tough one.
Very tough one. But I think that offensive line is so much better with Sewell. And I think at 7, it was the steal of the draft.
Has to be. All right, now this one I love. I did my day 3 one, my day 3 kind of reaction. I did that for the best picks of day 3, and Amon-Ra was the only player on the thumbnail. I thought I really, really, really think if this guy, I love the fit because at USC he's not the fastest, he's not the strongest, he's not the best vertically, but he has an incredible pair of hands. And I think and I never say this about rookies, going into a role now where he'll probably be the wide receiver 2. Obviously, they have Quintez Cephas from Wisconsin, who a lot of people are projecting to step up. I think moving him to that wide receiver 2, maybe 1B as the year moves on, is going to be really, really good for him. And I never, ever say that. Rookies don't be immediately, unless you're a quarterback, and offensive linemen, don't immediately be pushed into that starting immediate role. I think for Amon-Ra, it'll be fantastic. I think he can be a really, really good receiver. I think this guy could be one of the better receivers in the league if he pans out and if they get a good quarterback. I'm really, really high on him. But Serge, do you like him as much, or is that just me?
No, I really did like Amon-Ra going into the draft, and I really like that he was actually a day 3 pick. I'm not 100% sure that really he is that day 1 starter. I mean, day 1 starter, what I mean is wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, because again, I really like Rashad. I mean, I don't really like Rashad Perriman, but I still think he's a wide receiver number 1 for the team, and Quintez Cephas had a very promising year, so I would assume he's wide receiver number 2. But I do think Amon-Ra will get a very good impact, and I think if you're any dynasty owners, I think he'd be a very good pickup. He'll get a lot of action early as a rookie, so I think it's a very good pick. I think he isn't going to have he's not going to have the best rookie season, considering he obviously is the most talented, but for a 4th round receiver, I think this is amazing value, and it was a much needed pick considering how weak that Lions receiving core is with the loss of Marvin Jones and Kenny Golladay.
All right, so I just did the outro and forgot to do record predictions, so we will get into that. That's a very, very important part. Sure, this may be the worst record we've given to teams until maybe the Jaguars. The Eagles was pretty bad, also actually 4 wins.
Yeah.
This is a tough one. Serge, I'm going to ask you first. I want to hear what you got to say first.
I'm actually going to go – I'm going to channel my inner Dylan Shallow. I'm going to say that this roster isn't as bad as people think it is.
Okay.
I think it's still bad, but it's not terrible. It's going to go 0-17. So I'm going to be slightly generous. I'm going to give them 4 wins. I think the schedule isn't impossible. I think the NFC North is significantly weaker, and they can get wins against teams like the Bears. Even if Aaron Rodgers is coming back, the Packers are a bit weaker. I think the Vikings aren't impossible to beat either. I mean, they're not easy games, but I think they're definitely winnable. And let's look at the other teams on their schedule. They also get to play the Eagles. They get to play the Bengals. They get to play the Falcons. I think it's not an impossible schedule for them. I think they can win. I think there are some games that they can win. So I'm going to give them 4 wins this season.
Yeah, I think Goff's a guy who can win games. I'm giving them 5. Yeah. I think 5-12. I hate that they add another game. You guys know that because we can't say 500 anymore, and I've said that so many times. 5-12 for me. Jared Goff, to me, seems like a guy who can win games. He got to the Super Bowl, so he must be able to win something. I wouldn't be surprised 6. I think 6 is their ceiling. I think 3. I don't see a team like that getting only 3 wins.
Yeah.
So I think 4-5 makes at least that's kind of good for the expectations they have.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
I think if you're a Lions fan, you get 5 to 6 wins. All right, we'll get a decently high draft pick, and that's it. Great. There we go. That was a good episode. Surge, fantastic as always on his first video back. He does not have his mic, and the quality may not be great. Just he has to set it up. When we did the live stream, if you guys are fans of this channel, we did a live stream at Dylan's house like 2 weeks ago. It's hard for Surge to set up. He has a very good setup, and it's hard to kind of put it all back together. So he will have his mic back. The audio sure sounded all right. So we do hope you guys stuck with that. But as always, make sure to subscribe to the channel. As I said, we will be doing your NFL team, and we probably did. We've already done, after this video, I will have done 3 divisions. So make sure you guys go check out some of the other ones. I'm sure if you're maybe a Bears fan, you want to see how much junk we were going to talk about the Lions, or if you're a Packers fan, or if you're a Vikings fan. So we did to your team, so you can go check that out as well. We hope you did enjoy. Key McDermott, Surge Kadali. Make sure you guys go check us out. Who knows? Rattler, come be the hero. Howell, come be the hero for this Lions team next year, because I'm sure they will not be fantastic. But a good running back core. That's what we got to say.
Yeah.